very much for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Grace Nzula. I'm an HR consultant with Atara Solutions. Atara Solutions is a HR consulting firm that offers services like HR consultancy. HR consultancy includes job evaluation, it includes organization restructuring, updating and reviewing your HR policies, and HR audits, among others. We also offer what we call HR manager outsourced. If you have an organization that wants to outsource their HR department or is looking to outsource, cannot afford to have a full-time HR, then you need to outsource that to us. We bring to you expertise that you would otherwise be paying too much. And then we also offer talent sourcing for you. If you're looking to recruit for your organization, fill some open positions, then we support you in recruitment, or what we call talent sourcing. And we offer learning and development. Under learning and development, we offer coaching. We run a mentorship program called Growth Grid Mentorship Program. We also train you on soft skills and all HR related matters. And we can also organize for you your training and team building. We also offer team building services. And we are a one-stop shop for training. So please give us a shot at Atara Solutions. We are open to work. And tonight, and our learning and development, we run this program called Get It Right with Atara Solutions, which is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We have done this since this June of 2020, that is during COVID, and we are still here. We normally run these sessions from January to November. And I know some people have been saying, Grace, we have missed having tea in Nairobi. We are going to have tea in Nairobi around November. This year, we are looking forward to having an end-of-year tea party. We had one in Meru 2 weeks ago, which was amazing. I need to write on LinkedIn about that. But however, we are excited to be here this evening. And of course, I don't do this alone. I have an entire team at Atara Solutions. And here I have a co-host. I will allow him to introduce himself.
Good evening. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? My name is Richard J. Magoma, HR professional. I train people in public speaking and interview preparation, among many other things. But tonight, we are going to look at the examining and assessment of HR staff. And we are glad to have our friend Nelson to assist us understand. And thank you very much for finding time.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that intro. If you are doing an interview, you really need to get a hold of Richard. He's going to prepare you until you feel like the interview is where you belong. So do get in touch with Richard for that. So I wanted to give a shout out to our partner, Mr. Herbert Zaker. Herbert Zaker is a HR consultant and public relations expert. He runs an organization called Steadfast Quality Solutions down in Kampala, and he is a Gallup certified coach. He has coached over 500 executives. So if you're looking for a personal coach, then Herbert is able to help you or guide you through that or take you through your coaching sessions. He is an amazing friend, and his organization also will support you in recruiting for board members, evaluating board members, and training your board members. So if you're looking for governance trainings, then Herbert Zaker is your go-to person. And of course, our partner K2 HR Services down in Rwanda, they offer HR outsourcing and all HR consultancy. So if you're looking for support down in Rwanda, then be on the lookout for K2 HR Services. And I'm very excited about today, and I want to just thank Nelson for agreeing to be here. I know he's had a crazy day, but this is a pet subject for him. And let me just tell you this: if you want to buy the book called HR Audit, it is one of the best investments I've made in this year. You need to grab that book, because especially if you're a consultant or you're interested in offering HR audits, you really need to get a hold of that book. And then you also need to consult Nelson. to be able to unpack for you this. So we are very excited and honored, Nelson, that you said yes. And I personally want to thank you. And I look forward to people buying that book, because I had to use that to convince him to be here. Yes, Richard is showcasing that book. Let me just spotlight you so that you can show it off. Exactly. That is Nelson's book. It's called Human Resource Audit. So if you're here joining us and you have not grabbed this copy, please do. It is very important that you get a hold of that copy. And it's only going for 1,500 shillings minus transport. If he has to deliver to you, the delivery cost will be depending on where you are at. However, you can always figure it out on how to meet. Get a cup of coffee with Nelson and you will enjoy yourself. So at this point in time, allow me to invite Mr. Nelson Ogudha, famously known as the analytics guy or the management. Nowadays, he has evolved to a published author, but he is one of the guys who started or understood HR audits and has been training other people and mentoring people through that interesting subject. And he has now morphed into a data analytics guy. He has done CPA up to 6. He has, oh my God, Nelson, I did not think I was going to talk to you about those many things, but now please take it away before I oversell you and people think you have paid me.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Am I audible? Am I
Yes,
audible?
you are auditor. You are.
Yeah, because I am using some noise cancellation headphones. I know you've never seen them with me earlier, but today I have them so I can hear people clearly and I can also be heard clearly. So, yeah,
But we
I
cannot
think
see
I've been
you.
introduced. You cannot see me.
No.
Allow me not to, because my ring light is not functional.
Okay.
I've taken some good time without using the ring light until now.
That's okay.
I didn't find it working for me today. So just allow me guys to share my screen and then we kick off the discussion on HR audit. So I don't know how many of us have taken CHRP. How many of us? Grace, you can check for me. Jellican, you can check for me. Those of us who have taken CHRP as a
Well,
unit.
are they raising hands? Are they typing?
Whichever data, how they want to give their data, they can type.
Okay. The Ugandans are working on it, and the Zambians on the call.
Also working on it. They need to. Yeah, for those of us who have taken certified human resource professional examination, one of the key areas that they introduced, which I find good, was HR audit as a unit. Because HR audit, if I tell you, HR audit is just the foundation of HR. It builds into something for us to now do, because we say that we are supposed to be adding value to the company, but you can't add value when the foundation is weak. So I don't know why my screen is coming up. So that's why we have HR audit, so that we can look into it and ensure that our processes and our policies are in place. So just by simple definition is that HR audit is a systematic review of policies, systems within people aspects, so that we are able to understand that whatever we are doing is in compliance. Remember, in HR, everything that we do must always be complying to something. And compliance is always at 100%. There is nothing like we can do 5% of compliance, or we can do 99.1%. That one is not allowed when it comes to compliance issues. So compliance issues must be 100%. So if we say that everybody must have a fair hearing, we're not saying that if you are a CEO, then we can leave you out from that need from the compliance. So that whatever is said in the law becomes 100% executable, that we have to do it. So that is what we want to look at. And this is a crash program, because this training on HR audit is run for almost 2 weeks, or a crash program. A crash one would go for 1 week. But now for this one, I am told to only do it within the next 30 minutes. So I hope, guys, I'll do justice to us so that we are able to understand something out of it. Yes, my screen is up. I was worried. Now it is up. So if you look at that post, I think now Grace has introduced me very well, and she has accepted my current title, CPA. I've taken a lot of time before attaining that title because I wasn't sure what I wanted to be as I was growing up. But then I came to understand that I needed it. So as I already started introducing this topic for us, so we'll still continue. So human resource audit is a systematic, objective, and comprehensive review of human resource policies, processes, practices, and systems. So we have policies that we in place. We have what we practice. The practice, this is where the culture comes in. Yeah. And there is the procedures on how things should be done. Systems is what we ride on. Can be HR system, approval systems, authority of matrix of authority, and all that. Those don't become our system. But before we say that you are doing an audit, you must do a few elements. A few things must actually be there for you to say that you are doing an audit. Number one, there has to be a subject matter. So when you're doing audit, you must have a subject matter, meaning what do you want to audit? I want to audit human resources, recruitment process, or leave management process, or payroll process. That one becomes your subject matter. What do you want to audit? Then you will need a criteria. Criteria here is the standard. So you cannot just come and audit recruitment process without a standard. What do you want to base it on? Yeah. So I want to base my recruitment audit based on best practices by IHRM or by Grace or by Richard's standards that Richard has written and has been approved, or what we've called about fair or equal opportunity recruitment. So that is what I want to benchmark on, or I want to put my standards on. That will now become a criteria. Then there must be evidence that is sufficient and justifiable. So evidence, it means that you cannot just say that we are doing recruitment audit, but don't have evidence of it. So how will you? And this evidence can come in form of shortlisting, interviewing, the interview sheets that you have, the offer letters, the approvals for you to hire, and all such kind of things. That will become now an evidence that you are hiring. How are you shortlisting? Then you don't do an audit for yourself. You read for a third party. There's always a consumer of your audit report. This can be your junior employees, general staff, also when you're doing culture and ethics audit in HR, or when the board has asked that you do an audit, then they become your third party. So who are the consumers of the report? And then we also have, once you've done that, then now there is an assurance. You must give an opinion. This assurance here is where you're giving a confidence as an auditor on that you have reviewed policies, or have reviewed recruitment policies, and they are in compliance or not in compliance. So you must give an assurance, and this assurance is always given through an opinion. So we'll have a check on a few opinions that we have here. So how do you give confidence as a HR auditor? Now, if we look at HR audit stages that we have, audit practice, there are so many. We start from audit preliminaries, fieldwork, audit review, audit documentation, reporting, and communication, then monitoring and review. So guys, we are at the 5th stage now. I've taken you up to the 5th stage. So you can never write a report if you haven't sat with the stakeholders to confirm your evidence, to resolve the disagreements, before you do your final report. Never make that mistake, or else you'll be embarrassed. I have been embarrassed. I've also embarrassed people. Because auditing is not about fault finding. Yes, we agree. But remember, once you have done an audit, there are always repercussions of that audit, because recommendations will have to be made. And sometimes the user, the third party, can decide to let it pass, solve the problem. Solution might be that the person that you audited have to go home. So they'll have to defend themselves. It will be easier for them to defend themselves when you're with them without your report than when they're defending it when they're with the CEO or the board. You are a consultant, you've been told to come in and do an audit. And then you, as the consultant, you also want to take someone's job. You already don't have independence as an auditor, which is a key trait of an auditor, independence. So you come in and you already want to make everybody run because you're not the auditor. People must respect you. You put in things that people, you don't even understand. I've seen a scenario where people discussed something and it was passed through a board. Now, auditor came in and said that one they don't know. They didn't ask. So they ask you, where this document? Say that I don't have the document. Then instead you tell the person, can you go and talk to the HOD who we raised this issue with and was discussed at the board level? Say that no, if you don't have it, then you don't have it. So we won't look at it. I can't go to your HOD to because I'm auditing you. So I said, okay, that's okay. So this person goes ahead and do a report with that as a gap. Now, this report was being shared to the board. He was an external consultant. Now, the board seeing that are wondering, you guys, as the auditor, did you consult the HOD? Did you consult the CEO, who is now the secretary taking minutes? No. Telling you the report was rubbished because that engagement meeting was not there. So as an auditor writing a report, then always have an engagement meeting. Now this engagement meeting is always, you can do it in this format. Now what I have here is a sample audit program. And for those who have the book, Richard Jellican, you can confirm from page 99 to page 126 talks about all these programs across all HR areas. So like a good example here is that I want to audit contract variation and renewals. So the company has got promotions happening, or I have got people who are on fixed term contracts. So I have to renew these contracts. So if I want to audit, I want to check these amendments, have they been documented? Because there's a risk of people not documenting things. So that is the key that we're looking at. So the objective is to ensure changes are properly approved and documented. Then you have what methodology. How do you want to do it? What do you want to check? How do you want to get your sampling data that you want to look at? What evidence are you looking at? So once you have your findings, once you have your findings here, as an auditor, make sure that you meet your stakeholders and let them respond. Once they respond, you will find that some of the things that you're finding here could actually not be actual findings, because they say that, okay, that one, we didn't know that we needed that file. So this file is here. Look at this file. Then you can remove some of the findings that you're finding that are not or can be explained. So that's why we need this kind of a audit program that you can use to help you with the writing of a report. So once this has been done, because remember, management response also brings in recommendations to have in your report. So this report, what should be in the report? A good report should consider the audience. Who are you reporting to? So if the audit was about culture, then it must go through employees, right? So what should employees know about the audit of culture? You have to do this also to the HODs. What should the HODs also know about this? So you cascade that report to your audience. Because there's something that you cannot go and tell your junior employees because they don't even understand what you're saying. They're not even in charge. Yeah. So you cascade your report in a way that it will add value. Then we have got right medium. So if you want to talk to the employees, if this report that you have is going to employees, how do you communicate? Town hall will be best to communicate your report. So if it is going to be a town hall, then you need to have a PowerPoint presentation. If you go to the board will have full report that you want to look at now. What board will be looking at? If it is just management or supervisors or your team members who are going to make actions, I'll show you something simple for that also. But our key thing here today is to look at the report that will be read at the board level, not to the employees or your team, but I'll give you the one for the team. I'll also show you. Then clarity and tone. For a good time, I've struggled with that. Sometimes you find that as an auditor, you start addressing people, not the gaps that you found. And even mention people's names within the audit report, which should not be the case, about findings and all that. And or you even become personal within the report. So the tone should just be right enough to make sure that you are presenting to the people that actually needed this report. So you must have factual tone when you're presenting. Don't be shaky as you present your report, or your report will not have a shaky kind of language where you're not sure that you're saying that some. What do you mean some? Yet we gave you 27 policies. Just say 3 out of 27 policies. Don't say some policies. You know what you looked at. If you start being shaky, then tone clarity will not be there. We're just asking ourselves, did you actually do all this? Did you go through all policies that you are looking at? Yeah. Avoid blaming and naming people in your report. Say that Nelson failed to do X. Use that. For example, you're saying that X process was not performed, which shows a gap in accountability. So I was supposed to sign the document, but I let Jellican sign. So we're saying that the person, so the approval process was not performed, which shows a gap in accountability. Remember that you're also going to have your audit evidence under appendix. So people will see whatever you're talking about there, but not people that would want to, but a report should just show what you found out, not trying to do things that are not there. So that one means that when you do that, the language should remain constructive, where you present problems clearly and solution oriented. Remember, auditing is not about fault finding, and auditors have now become data analysts, change managers, investigators. We do all these things as auditors because you have audited and found a gap. This gap has to be closed. How do we close? Through implementation. Who is implementing? People. So you must be some bit of change, right? So that means that you're becoming a solution provider, because you can't be auditing. If you have internal auditor in your company, they can't be auditing you every month on payroll. Then KRA comes and find gaps. So what were you doing? You're not problem solving. Now, value of addressing the findings. So don't just tell us that there was a gap in recruitment or in disciplinary process or leave management. What is the value of that finding? So you're telling them that if we closed these leave approvals, which is a mess, I am applying for leave, it doesn't appear in my manager's portal. It means that if I applied for leave, it's not with my manager's approval. It means that I'm still having leave which has not been taken because they have not been approved, so it has not been taken. So meaning my liability will still be high. A liability will reduce your profit. So you say that this one will help us preserve shareholders' value with this amount. Or I saw that the last 5 disciplinaries that we've had, we haven't had employee representative being part of them. We have a union in this company, but union has not been in their disciplinary meetings. This means that whatever we are doing is out of scope. And should we fire someone in the same process, we might pay up to 12 month salaries. He is trying to show the value of addressing. This value can be in terms of fines, reputational damage, or legal risk that you have. So try to do that in your report. Now, how does a good report look like? Now we are now there at the good report, or the HR audit report. Number one, you must have executive summary. Executive summary, you are trying to have an overview of what was you're supposed to do, the purpose of the audit, the scope, the key findings, not just key findings, and the major recommendation that you have. Yeah, or what you have given out. Because busy executives, Grace is a board member. I don't know how board members, I lost the count. I don't know how many she has had nowadays, but there are people actually, if you find board members, look at someone like Dr. Martin Oduor. How many boards have you seen his appointments to? So you want to look at that report once and move forward. So the executives are busy, so they want high level opinion so that they can see whether they can continue reading the report or they can make the decisions and move forward. So a good example is what I have on the screen there, where you are saying that overall, the HR audit finds that while compliance fundamentals are in place, meaning that you have policies. If I was reading about policies, there are significant gaps in consistent policy implementation and documentation. You're saying that, yes, you have the policy, yes, but we don't have implementation or documentation of these policies. They are there, but nobody's implementing them. Such as, you see, I'm very specific, inconsistent disciplinary process. So you can now know where do you want to go to. The 3 high-risk compliance issues were identified, and an action plan is recommended to address them. So when we go through, you'll see what we are talking about. Additionally, there is a potential labor case with a cost of 10,000 USD. Already when they see that, now they can say, okay, now we can go further, or we can stop here. Call that HR and ask, what is wrong with your department, right? Because the summary says whatever is there. Now, number 2, now you come to second section called the scope and objectives. Now, what were you auditing and why were you doing the audit? So this audit covered all HR professional areas. So that part, you can either say you are only doing leave management, or I was only doing payroll audit, or I was only doing a forensic audit on fraud that happened. So you have to say, in the period, data, what were you considering? We were doing audit only for documents between January to December. My friend, if you don't have that in your report, they can ask you, so last year, what did you check the one for 2025? Why? Because you didn't agree earlier. So always ensure that you have the scope. And this one here you are picking from engagement letter of an auditor. I don't know whether you know about engagement letter of an auditor. Engagement letter, which you have. Then the objective was to assess compliance with applicable laws. Already you're talking about something there. What did we say applicable laws is about for you to say that you're doing an audit? Applicable laws, among the facts that we talked about, 5 things we talked about. Applicable laws falls under. Jelly, do you have someone who knows that so that we can see what we can do? We can gift the person the book at a discount, massive discount.
A gift is here. So write your responses, the applicable laws. There is a book
So the
here.
applicable law,
Hmm.
applicable law falls under what element of an audit?
We have George Nyambori. His hand is up, I think.
Yes.
You can write, or you can, I don't know, Grace, if you can allow him to unmute. We have...
Mue already got the answer. So Mue, we have a massive discount. So you'll call, then I'll let you know. I am doing 500 shillings off the book. You pay only 1,000. The criteria. So you're telling these people that you were doing the audit, and what you're going to do is applicable laws, nothing else. I'm not going to use World Bank case study or survey, nothing else. I'm going to use applicable laws to evaluate the effectiveness of HR processes supporting the business objectives. So they already know that your audit is more of a compliance type of audit. You already have your applicable laws. Then now, what goes next? Methodology. How do you want to do the work? So here, you are trying to tell the people how the audit was conducted to boost transparency and credibility. There are some of us as auditors who will wait for people to go for lunch and they go back and get the evidence. Huh? Kind of auditors, they're saying that you can't give the files. Okay, I'll wait for you. So when you go for lunch, they go and pick the auditor, the files and check, say that we found this audit, this document. So under methodology, you have to say we reviewed 50 personnel files, approximately 10% of total employees. So say that we did only 50 files out of 500 for required documents. We'd also conducted 8 interviews with HR staff and managers. We surveyed 120 employees on training satisfaction and analyzed HRS data reports. So we've told them the evidence that you are looking at. We evaluated the findings against legal requirements and HR best practice standards. So now this person have now gone further and said that, yes, we were doing applicable laws, right, as our criteria, but we saw it wise to add something on best practice. So because there are some cases where you'll want to add the best practice, say that, okay, the law says this, but you can always do better, right, by adding this on it. So this auditor is a very good auditor that added a good criteria to the methodology that they're going to use. So don't be an auditor who does not do sampling properly. An auditor who goes behind people's back and bring in evidence that wasn't there. Like you go to, there's an auditor who was in manufacturing, who only was waiting for people to lack helmet, then they take that as a evidence that nobody's wearing PPE. You ask, but didn't you see people wearing PPEs? No, one person out of 100 people, no compliance, right? So you must be able to say what you did to get that evidence. How did you get the evidence? And within the book, we have got a whole chapter on evidence, talking about evidence collection. How do you record evidence and how do you dispose the evidence or store it? Now, the findings, you must be very clear. Out of 50 files reviewed, 8 had contracts missing, indicating 60% non-compliance rate. So don't come here and say some files. What is some? We don't need some. We want you to tell us what exactly did you do. Some files, not some, but 8 files out of 50 or 50 had non-compliance, while all sample statutory records were found accurate with a 0 error rate in calculations. So here we are saying that we also did sample statutory records. And we are saying that all of it. So mean that 100%, everything that we took, not some, everything. So either you state or you are doing everything. Because all means 100. You can say 100, but some doesn't know. Some can be 80, can be 20, can be 50, can be 1, can be 0, because it's a political statement. The audit noted a robust safety training program and well-documented procedures which are highlighted as strengths. At least you also give people hope. Don't kill people. Don't kill people. This is also like performance management. Don't kill people's hopes. Say whatever you found good. Say that it was also good. Huh? Let the people breathe that you did a good job and they're also doing a good job. You don't also need to find errors, because under opinion, you will also see how opinions are written. So don't think that your job is only to find errors. No. Recommendations. Now, under recommendation, this is where we go wrong. Under implementations, most of us, I was once there. Now, in recommendation should be clear, practical, and specific for each gap identified. So don't give us recommendations that can't work. You see some people, because they don't do HR, they've never done HR anywhere, so they don't know what should be done when you have this kind of things. So they just give recommendations that are also not, you can't practice those recommendations. And that's why sometimes, Grace, we find it difficult for consultants to do 8 to 5 job where they also have to implement whatever they are saying that should be done, practicality of their recommendations, right? And if you remember, how do we cure this? We said, have a discussion with the team members before writing this report, because they're the ones who will tell you how can we close this, because they are HRs. Actually, people who do these things are HRs. They also know. They'll tell you, my friend, even the CEO himself doesn't do it. So we know how to go around with this. So what we do is that, let us, instead of naming the CEO to be the one doing it, let's have finance director doing it, because at the board level, they know what to do. So a good example will be, implement a quarterly audit of personnel files and use a defined checklist to ensure all required documents are completed. So we found that that you don't have contracts. So you should always be doing quarterly audits, right? And also number 2, introduce a checklist so that whenever a new employee comes in, you say that we have signed the offer letter, tick, it has been filed, tick. That checklist should be part of the file for you to have that, so that when it comes to the next audit, we don't find the same problem. That is a practical recommendations, and they're always very simple. Don't look for things that are complicated. And remember, the dollar value. Give recommendations that you can actually substantiate, and the company will not feel a lot of financial distress when implementing them. Now, as you conclude, you have to give audit opinion. Opinion can be qualified or unqualified or adverse or disclaimer. Now, unqualified opinion, okay, let's start with the unqualified. Unqualified is now the clean report, meaning the HR processes and records are fairly represented and they comply with the laws. So you audited leave management, you audited recruitment process, and everything they're doing is correct as per what they provided for you. As per what was provided, please. As per what was provided, as per what you audited. You say that they were clean report. You give them clean report. And it means that the systems are effective and there is robust activities in HR or practice in HR. And this team should actually be given something to eat, because they are working very hard, right? And now, sometimes the error, you might find an error in this kind of report. You can still find that instead of one of the files did not have the checklist, but out of 100 files, only one can't be a big issue, right? So you can give them a clean report and qualified audit. Now, qualified audit can also be called an exception report, which means the majority of what you are auditing is good enough, except for a few things that are not good. And what I have there is one of them. The HR audit finds that core compliance requirements are met, except for, such is a problem there, except for payroll disciplinary actions require improvement. So other things are good, except for only these 2 things that needs to be looked at. So this one means that the team must address them, the gaps, very fast before it becomes a weakness. Yeah, you've seen that approvals for payroll is not happening, so you need to do that very fast before it becomes a weakness. Adverse is I've come to audit you, and nothing is correct, whatever you provided. So it is an adverse. So the audit finds that all competency requirements are not met. There's nothing like except, nothing is met. And then disclaimer is that you gave me a job they don't want me to do. Everyone, those bosses that give you a job that they don't want you to do. So Grace tells me, come and train, then I come for training. They tell me, Nelson, don't worry about training. Just reduce yourself, then I'll pay you. Don't worry. As an auditor, give a disclaimer. Because here we are saying that you never got sufficient evidence to form an opinion. They never gave you data. So you can't measure the error rate. Yeah, you can't do the materiality. So there's nothing that you did. Just say that the audit was not undertaken. That one becomes your executive summary and concludes the report. So nothing was done. That's a disclaimer report. So most probably you'll always get qualified reports or unqualified. Adverse means that you don't have a HR department. I believe if you went through a degree program or a certificate or a diploma program or CHRP to become a HR, you cannot get adverse report or an opinion. Or unless the management is not supporting the HR function. And why would they bring an auditor when they're not supporting you? So always, if you've gone to school, if you have experience, you'll only get qualified or unqualified opinions in your reports. Please mark that. Now, the last bit that you'll have in your report is an appendix where you're adding more information. This can be risk register. You have gotten some risks. Yeah. So how do you have these risks? Into a risk register as a tool for risk management. And actually, let me tell you guys, risk auditing and risk management is just the first step of risk management, which is risk identification. So you have just done one thing about risk management, risk identification. So auditing is not risk management, it is a step in risk management. Critical step in risk management. So risk register will help you manage the risk. You can also add evidence because people will ask, so how did you say that you don't have contract? Which one did you check? I checked so and so's file. Or there's a forgery in the bank file. You take a photo. That's why auditors, you must have a good smartphone which can take photos. Or you must have sharp eyes so that you can observe, have people sign once you've written your report. Or there must be photocopying machine as you do audit, because you always want to copy to have your working papers. We call the evidence as working papers. What you retain as an auditor, we call them working papers. Management action plan is what you want to give the management if they want to. And this one here, if you read the book, page 140, we have management action plan. We want to talk about it here, where you have the issue, action, who is responsible, who is accountable, who is to be consulted, who is to be informed, and then the date is supposed to be closed. You can add that to your report. Those ones are value add. Huh? And if you are a HR and someone comes to audit you, they find so many mistakes in your process. High chances that they're going to ask for your job is almost 100%. They say that this guy doesn't know the job. I can help the company. Or how they come in, they start saying that, oh, can we write you policies? Because even the policies are not up to date. We can do your policies for you. Tomorrow, can we train your team for these policies? You can also consult us in disciplinary matters. Then at the HR, you don't have anything to do. So please clean your house through this audit process and have your things done. And sometimes they might not even have external consultant to come and do the audit. Even labor officer coming to do the audit is just also an auditor. Yeah. KRA coming to do audit, also an auditor. So be careful who will be coming to your company to audit, right? So you can do your self audit as a company. So if you are to present this to the board, they'll accept your report, and this is what will give you money. And when you're doing a consultancy, you must have this kind of a report to get money paid. You can't come with this. If you come with this one here, audit area, contract variation, finding and recommendations, this is for the in-house team. Now, me as Nelson, I am HR auditor, and Richard is my manager. So I do my audit, tell Richard, this is what I found, these are my recommendations. He will decide what you want to do with it or not, right? This is for in-house. But if the board asks you for an audit report, if they tell you that, Nelson, make sure that you do an audit, they don't go with something like this. You have to go with this report for the board to review and understand the actual activities that you need to do. This one here is where they can decide which risk goes where. Because some risks that you'll be having in HR, some of them might not be HR risks, they might be business risks that you have. They'll tell you that this risk here should not be under HR, this risk should be business risk, or so and so should handle the risk. So to that marks the end of this session. I've tried justice, and guys, I found that this book was being used somewhere to train. And I'm very happy that it is being used to train. Someone, a friend of mine, sent me this for to say that they are amazed to have the book being used, and it's actually a good book. I read it and always revise to just see that it is what I am training is what people are, what I am also using, me as a person. So thank you very much, and I'll be glad to take questions, compliment, corrections, and can also take good night wishes, though we have World Cup ongoing. Thank you.
I can see the emojis flying there. With this time, we don't even really need to ask for them. From the World Cup fans to participants to hands or rather claps and everything. You've done an amazing job. Thank you very much, Nelson. And always a pleasure. And there's somebody who had asked how to find the book. So maybe you want to do that before we start doing the questions, because I see we were almost 200 now. The numbers are going down. If you can do the book, then we can continue with the questions. We have about 5 questions that speak directly to the team. So Nelson, if you like, would please type in on the chat and let people know how to find the book. And then we can continue. Nelson is based in Kenya, but he can deliver across the world. There is his number. Please take a screenshot so that you can get a hold of the book.
Yeah, just WhatsApp me, will organize the deliveries.
Yes. And for those who are not Kenyans, that's +2547. +2547. Don't start with a 0. +2547.
Oh, yeah. And Grace, just for that answering these questions, I've now seen when I talked about the discount. Now people forgot it was supposed to be one person, but because of this session, today only, and up to 9:30, look your order through this number. I'll do it at 1,000 for you to go and shine as an auditor or as a student, because we also have people who are also students who read this book in the last CHRP exam and they passed. I have the recommendations, you will see them. So if just make it between now and 9:30, but after that, I will not know you. Just give me a text on WhatsApp. Yes, so we can go to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Alice, you're asking the number. Please look at your screen. It is displayed right on your screen. That is what he's projecting right now. He is displaying that on your screen. Let me start with the question from my friend Shamim. Shamim says, how do I get the book in UG? Text Nelson. He'll be sure to make deliveries. So Noah Quet asked, what HR audit metrics would you tell a new HR manager to track monthly so that they catch issues before lawsuits?
Wow. That's a good question. I will answer it because we are here, but I will only give one answer because we've covered all these things, imagine, in our book. And we are saying one of the key audit KPI that you can look into for a HR auditor is number one, compliance audit coverage. The percentage of HR processes audited annually. They must be above 90% because you want to have all your policies or processes audited, right? Every year. Because should you fail to audit one today, there'll be a problem. Jelican, if you confirm page 46, we have sample KPI scorecard, internal HR auditor. We even given a sample scorecard. Number two, I can also give you another one. Quality of recommendations. Percentage of recommendations rated practical and actionable by the management. So you do an audit, then you give in your recommendations. These recommendations, in the eyes of Grace, who has been HR for this company for long, or a CEO, they know what they can implement and what cannot be implemented. So they want to rate you. So there should always be 90% practicability of your action that you are recommending. Or they might not even be rating them, they just try them out. So whichever works, implementability, can they be implemented? If it doesn't work, then tell you, my friend, you give us recommendations, we've tried, and nothing has changed. We are still there. So those are some of the few areas that we're looking at. Another area, let me just support, another area is reduction in HR risks. So KRA reviews us this year and find that we have got 50 areas that we need to address under payroll. Then you'd audit, give us recommendations. Then next year they did audit us again. We find that there was some other thing that you didn't pick, even you as the auditor, in implementing. And auditor's role doesn't end at auditing. Auditing role goes to the full risk management cycle, which means implementation, review, and monitoring. And because risks do evolve, so you should check on your recommendations that are implemented. Yes, another question.
All right, there's Imelda. Oh, there's people who are asking whether we shall share the notes. We do not normally share the notes, but we will share the recording. So whoever sent you the link by the end of day tomorrow, you can ask them for the recording, but we will circulate on the HR platforms. For those in Uganda, as Herbert Zake will share. If you have our email addresses, the one that you received the link with, you can always text and we will share the recording with you, or rather email. Imelda is saying, do we have a certified HR auditor course, either virtual or in person?
Yes. The people who are taking this course, actually, you see the people who are taking this course, I don't know whether it is feasible or not. There is something here. They're taking a course called Certified HR Auditor. Here. Certified HR Audit Professional. I don't know whether you can see it. They just said this to me, so I was not careful, but I saw it here. So there is a course, yes, there's a course for this. So you can also text me, I can give more details on the same.
All right. There's a question by Lisa Molo who said, hi Nelson, kindly expound on systems audit and what it entails in relation to HR audits and what are the best practices?
That's too huge. Will we complete it now? That is
no,
too
summarize.
Because if you are summarizing the system, we're talking about things like HR that we use in our companies, and it also encompasses our data management or data privacy. Yeah. So you look at system security controls. Who has what rights in the system? there's a report that was delivered, I can't remember the numbers, that in public sector, 72 people have got authorization rights in one system. Imagine 72 people can do something in the system. So who can you trace it from? So who has the system controls? Yeah. So what backup do you have? There's most of us whose companies have refused to evolve to online filing because they're saying that what if the system goes down or data loss? So data backup, do we have disaster recovery or business continuity plans? Yeah. Then do we have data accuracy in your system? Does the system allow you to employ someone who is below 18? Huh? How does it allow you to employ someone who is below 18, yet the country-specific laws allows 18 and above? So how are you hiring someone who is less in terms of age? Data privacy and compliance. Who can see what? There are some systems that you are a junior employee, but you can see your manager's salary and you're asking, huh? How? Through the system. Who can change what in the system? So all that we have them also in our book on page 116. They are there. Yes.
All right. Richard, do you have something for Nelson?
Of course, Grace, I have something for Nelson. Nelson, as you did your research in writing this book, as you've listened to various people talk to you about HR, what are the commonest defects or pitfalls you find in HR audits so that people can avoid it? What are the commonest pitfalls?
Commonest pitfalls. Number one, we have documents that lie everywhere. So documentation. And the first thing that I looked at actually was employee data management, because I am also an analyst. So when you're doing an analysis, you must have data. So one bit is that in HR, we don't have proper records. Either they are existing somewhere. You are sent an email and you kept it on email, the way it was an email. You're told, can you do a letter so that the employee can sign? But you sent an employee an email, so you stopped there. So you didn't do the letter. Yet your policy is saying that there must be a signed letter. So we also have the gap between the policy and what we are practicing. As an auditor, we always tell you, let the policy be what you practice. Yeah. So if you have accepted email signatures, yeah, as part of authorizations, then go to your policy and say that in this company, we're also allowing email signatures. So that gap is always there, where we practice something different from what we have written as our policies. And that's where sometimes we get ourselves into cases that goes to the court, because what you are doing and what you are saying that you should be doing are all different. So one thing that I've always found is that the data that we are having is not actually consistent. We miss some of the data that we need to have in the HR department. Like a contract, like the companies that people have been on contracts year in, year out, right? So they know that this person is always on a contract. What happens? Find that two people, contracts were renewed after 6 months because nobody tracks the contract renewals. Yeah. I've also come in to see the policy gaps where we have a policy, but we don't implement the policy itself. So you see that after probation, we be enrolled on pension. Then you go 6 months, no pension, then you come back and backdate. Policy implementation becomes the key thing. So I would say those two are very key for us to look into, because the others now will fall between companies to companies, but those are if you go to any company, you always find them. Yeah.
Perhaps the last question, what are some of the indicators that indeed now we need HR audit? Are there some red flags that are seen and then that will trigger an audit process, or you should wait for a particular period?
No. HR audit is not a one-time activity. It's a practice. That's why we say that there is audit practice. You practice it day in, day out. And actually we do it. Only that we don't do it formally in a way that we can now do, because it is part of risk management. Risks never disappear. You can only prevent a risk, transfer a risk, or reduce the risk. Yeah. So it means that auditing should be happening each and every time. It is an activity that's also that goes in, day out. That one we'll talk about when talk about the changing role of an auditor, which we have become investigators who uncover irregularities, advisor who guides on improvement. We talk about continuous improvement, right? An analyst who interprets workforce data, and change agent who supports institutional reforms. So auditing cannot be, we can't wait to see ghost worker then start doing audit. Then if you get that point, then you are looking to be fired, my friend, because how do you be in a company? Every day you sit there and they come and notice that, hey, there's a problem here that we need to have. That's why we have two types of reports where you can give your normal audit that you do versus what is now the high order. So you should do it over and over. I have seen a good question here by Shamim. Let me just address it very fast on AI transforming HR. Yeah. How best can you do audits? This one here, I like it. Now, number one is that all of us are nowadays using systems, if not all, most of us, let me now use the political language. Most of us are using systems, HR system. And let's give you one example, is that in Kenya, we have that, actually Kenya, East Africa region, even in Zambia, yes, Malawi is where you can hire someone below 60, below 18. So if the compliance of the country say that you need to hire someone that is above 18, right? So your system with the AI on it should be able to tell you that you've keyed in wrong date of birth. So that it doesn't accept that. It should actually reject it. Yeah. You can actually have agents. Now that you're using SharePoint, I don't know whether we know SharePoint, what is on the cloud, or we have got agents in our computers nowadays. You say that I have these files in this folder. Go check those files and tell me who doesn't have a contract. That's how we are using now the AI now. It is like a supplement to it, so that you will go say that, okay, Jellican doesn't have a contract, this and this. So until you go and say, okay, Jellican, we didn't write the file as contract. We wrote it as agreement. Then now you come in with your expert to say that, okay, that was just an error, but now already has done the heavy weight lifting. Yeah. So the last part, what skills to have? We have the skills already under HR Auditor. Actually, you guys are asking part of the books, the real book itself. Thank you. Yeah. So I think that marks the bit of our discussion. We can go over and over. We'll finish the book tomorrow, and then we discuss, then up to maybe Saturday. We'll complete the book. Yes.
Nelson, the last I checked, I did not see you as I only knew you were a data guy, not a salesperson. Kumbe, life has changed. We are evolving.
Have a YouTube channel, guys, and also go to TikTok so you can tap my screen. You wait. I'm evolving. It is time.
At this rate, you will be tapping.
I'm just getting confident. Thank you.
Yeah, at this rate, I will not be surprised. I am on the lookout for the new skills. But thank you, Nelson. What is your parting shot?
I would say that audit is a practice that we do on a day-to-day basis. We can be doing it without knowing, because type of audit that we also have, we have got full audit, like what I've shown, that gives you the full report, or a review where you don't meet all 5 criteria. Third party, there's no third party, there is no assurance, but you have got evidence, criteria, and what to audit, subject matter. So all this we do them on a day-to-day basis. That is called HR review, just reviewing, nothing much. We always do this, and we should always be doing them because they're practice, so that when now you get audit is coming, you don't need to start aligning your, because they've already been aligned. So it's a practice. Leave it. Be a HRBP with HR auditing skills. In addition, HR analytical skills, because you have to do analytical procedures when you're doing audits. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nelson, anything from you, Richard?
Thank you very much, Nelson, for having time to come and refine and polish our HR audit skills. And this is the new kid on the block that has given people money, a lot of money. So if you want to get a lot of money that is lying around, invest in understanding HR audit. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Richard, and thank you, Nelson. Thank you. This was fantastic, and to the HR practitioners in the room, you can always reach out to Nelson for the book. Grab yourself a copy. It's very, very informative. And you can also check out our YouTube channel. There's a lot of content there on quite a number of different topics, from HR to other stories. And of course, we are really honored that you could spare some time to join us. Thank you very much for making it here. And we're looking forward to interacting some more. My name is Grace Nzula. Please follow our Instagram at Ara Solutions, like our Facebook page at Ara Solutions. Connect with us on LinkedIn at Ara Solutions, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with at Ara Solutions. And of course, connect with Nelson. He's called CHRP Nelson Ogudha on LinkedIn. And of course, Richard J. Magoma on LinkedIn as well. And myself, CHRP Grace Nzula on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Let's keep the conversation going. Please remember to grab yourself a copy. We shall be here, same time, same place, next week, Tuesday at 8 o'clock for an amazing session on Father's Day. We are honoring men next Tuesday. So please, men and women, the same way you have been logging into the women conversation, let us also support the men in this conversation next Tuesday. And it's technically about fatherhood in celebration of Father's Day. And we are also alive to the fact that June is also Men's Mental Health Month. So we are going to have an interesting conversation next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So make sure to tune in at Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. See you next week. Have a lovely, lovely night.